Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Studio 78 podcast. I am your host, Nache from NacheSnow.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I have Trina Little on today. She is a video strategist, and you guys are going to love all the things that she has to say, all the tips she has to provide. Before we get into the episode, of course, a few housekeeping items. First of all the show notes for this episode will be at nachesnow.com/156, of course. And I have a new SpeakPipe feature on the website. So if you want to leave me a message that potentially could be played back on the podcast later, please go over to nachesnow.com and you will see the little SpeakPipe button either in the show notes or on the podcast page. Just click the little button, fill out your name and your email, and just hit record, and it'll come straight to my inbox. All right. And second of all, please, if you love this episode, rate me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who's already done that. If you're looking at this on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. And wherever you're listening, please subscribe. And also remember, sharing is caring, my friends. Please share the episode if you think it will help someone. Also, just want to point out, if you go to the storefront of NacheSnow.com, dreamsplansideas.com, I have that Notion travel planner over there for all of my Notion fans. And also I have my Life Cleanse Journal, which will make an excellent holiday gift, might I say. And this journal forces you to really reflect on 10 areas of your life and then take action. You guys know I am all about the action, all right? So definitely check it out if you're looking to get organized. I have some digital and analog items over there that might speak to you in the productivity system that you want to set up. So let's get into this episode with Miss Trina. She is absolutely amazing. I've been following her on YouTube for a while, and there is just something magical about how she does her videos. Most of her videos are talking head videos where she gives very good, clear, actionable tips in order to up your YouTube video game. And then at the end, she always hooks you in and you end up watching 2 or 3 of her videos, and then you're like, okay, let me implement some of the strategies that she's outlined. But I always have found that her content is useful and very engaging. So I'm really excited to have her on the podcast and share her story with you, which we get into in the front end, like why she decided to take the leap and quit her job, and also just some things that inspirational words for other mompreneurs that she has. And then midway through the episode, we shift into video and we talk about the importance of knowing kind of like the content that you want to create, why YouTube is great for video, some secret ingredients about videos, how to choose the right video style, all the things. And sorry if my voice is a little scratchy. Clearly I have been talking way too much this weekend, but anyway, it's not scratchy on the interview because we recorded this a couple of months ago. Okay, so anywho, we get into all of that, her story and the video tips. You guys know I'm always seeing here and on, I feel like Instagram and on the newsletter, nachesnow.com/newsletter, that video is key. If you're not doing video, man, you out of here. So you need to figure out how you can make video work for you. So without further ado, here's Trina. Hello, Trina, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, really excited to have you on. I'm like addicted to your videos. It's funny, I have a routine where I try to watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos a night, and I'm like, okay, what does Trina have to say? What tips does she have to provide this week?
Love it.
But before we dig into all things video, can you just tell the listeners just a little bit about you and your story?
Yeah, so I got started in YouTube back in 2015. I was pregnant for the first time, so that'd have been 2014. I had my daughter in 2015, but I started dabbling over on YouTube in 2014 when I was really trying to figure out like what to expect with pregnancy because I was the first of my friends to be pregnant, and I found this world of like mommy vloggers and like YouTubers. And I have a background, I have a degree in business and a master's degree in business. And I really got intrigued by how these random moms were convincing me of all the things that I needed for my baby. And I
Mm.
never met these people before, but I needed what they were getting because they told me it was great and I needed to watch every single video. And so I
Mhm.
just tried to figure out what were they doing that made it this way. And then I started to look at brands that I loved and to see what they were doing on YouTube. And nobody was doing YouTube back in 2014. And
Mm.
so I decided I was going to try to figure it out. When I had my daughter, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a mommy vlogger. No, I was not a mommy vlogger. I'm not someone that can just vlog my life. I don't really enjoy doing that. I don't like talking on my camera outside of my house, even in the neighborhood. But even though I did a couple videos, I started to figure out YouTube. I started to see what was working, what were people saying. And I really wanted to quit my job that I hated. And so I did
Mm.
that at the end of 2015 and just kind of
Wow.
dove in. I launched my first course in the beginning of 2016. It totally flopped, but a month later, I booked my first YouTube client.
Mm.
And from there, I ended up working with a YouTube educator for 3 years and helping him build his program out. And it really gave me a lot of experience not only with YouTube space, but so many different types of niches. I work with channels that were family vloggers, off-roading, magic, hypnotists, space, like all these different niches. And like the strategy was there across the board for all of the niches. You just had to mold it for your niche.
Mm.
And so I've been officially on my own for over a year now in my business. I was doing my business part-time while working for him. And I really just found I love working predominantly with female entrepreneurs, getting them confident, comfortable on YouTube so they can really get their message out to more people.
Mm. Mm. So many questions. So, just trying to get into the mind of the listener. And it's interesting. I did a recent survey to my newsletter group too, just to find out like where their headspace was and things they want to know. And one of the things that came up is there are some people who want to take that leap, but they're scared, right?
Mhm.
And everybody has different situations. Some people have a savings, some people don't. Some people have additional income from their partner, some people don't. For you, what was it that gave you the confidence and kind of the comfort in saying, okay, I think I could take a risk on myself, right?
I would say it was two things, a positive and maybe a negative. The positive was I did have a spouse who could support us. Obviously, our lifestyle would change a little bit, but we would be fine. But
Yeah.
the other thing I don't know if it was a negative, but I think I was overly confident that I could crush this and within 1 year be like drinking Mai Tais in Hawaii and have just money coming into me magically. I really thought that when I quit that job. But what it was to me is I knew I couldn't live my life every day going to that job
Mm.
because it sucked.
Mm.
Like just
Mm.
pulling into the parking lot and sitting there thinking, this my life for the next 30 years? I couldn't do
Mm.
it. I was like, I would rather live in a box than come here. And so I
Mm.
just had to eventually decide this is the step that I'm going to take. And so I don't know if there's any one thing that pushed me other than, like I said, confidence that I could do it without a doubt, without really
Yeah.
having the backup to do it.
But sometimes that's what you need, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like it's that coupled with, can I do this another day?
Mhm.
Right. And it's like you only have this one life. And so
Yeah.
those two things maybe was enough to make you say, like, let me give this a try. What's the worst that can happen? I get
Yeah, and
another job.
that first year, I'll say no cakewalk. Obviously, I didn't end up sipping those Mai Tais in Hawaii. I just broke even that
Mm.
year,
Mm.
and I worked a lot. In the first year, my daughter turned 1, and we got
Mm.
pregnant and had my second
Oh,
child all in that
wow.
first year. and sold our house accidentally and didn't have a house to move into all in that first year of
Oh my
business. And
God.
so it was a lot to juggle, but I just knew if I was going to make this happen, I had to do it. Like I had to figure out, I had to adjust, I had to figure out how to make this all work.
Mm. And you mentioned getting that first client, I believe at the beginning of 2016. How did that go? Did you like
Mhm.
pitch a bunch of people and have to like see these kind of rejection emails or people thinking you were spam? Like, how did you, because people are scared sometimes to reach
Yeah.
out to folks.
That's actually the power of YouTube. I never pitched anybody. I never
Oh,
cold reached
wow.
out
Yeah.
to anybody. Like I said, I worked on that course the first couple months of the year, that year, and I had two people buy it. And one was a friend who felt bad for me, so she bought it. But I was creating YouTube videos. And when I got
Mm.
started, I was trying to make, because I was a new mom and I knew I was watching other people talk about YouTube on YouTube and it was so long and they were talking so detailed. And I'm like, I'm just getting started. I need to learn what is the first way to kind of kickstart this process in YouTube. So when I got started on YouTube, talking about YouTube, I did 1 minute tips. I tried to do like
Mm.
1 minute tips, and that's before I clearly understood audience retention on YouTube. I was thinking short form content before short form content was cool.
Right.
And so I was just doing 1 minute tips, teaching people how to get better with video, how to set their camera up, how to do YouTube. And then I started getting tagged in Facebook groups at the time when they were
Mm.
actually kind of hot.
Yeah.
That this is the YouTube girl. Like they were tagging
Hmm.
me as this is the YouTube girl. And that's how I got my first client is somebody posted about needing help with YouTube. Somebody tagged me and said, this is the YouTube girl that I would go to. And I was like,
Mm.
hey, here's my YouTube channel. Here's what I do. Let me make up some service that I have, not tell you I made it up on the spot, but here's what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And I worked with her for over a year. And then she actually, from there, it was just kind of people saw what I was doing for her. I would get tagged in more Facebook groups. And that's just
Mm.
kind of how it evolved.
Oh, I love it. But it is all about like putting yourself out there, right?
They could see instantly who I was. Like they could see the way that I was teaching YouTube and talking about video was totally different in 2016 than what most people, because it was a male dominated area. It's still pretty male
It
dominated, but
is.
they could see me, first of all, as a mom, as a female, teaching video in a simpler way so that they
Yeah.
could manage it as well and not be so intimidated by video.
No, I love it because I love YouTube and I follow like several people. But that's one thing that I've noticed too. It is still very male dominated. So I would love more females to kind of break into it in a variety of niches, right?
Mhm.
Just not the ones that sometimes people predict, oh, you should go into beauty. And I'm not knocking beauty, anyone out there. Beauty is
Yeah.
great and it's a moneymaker and people make a killing off of it.
Hmm.
But I mean, you have people who are amazing scientists and educators and tech folks. So,
Yes.
and so just getting more women into all the different spaces, I think would be amazing. So that's why I love what you're doing and that you target kind of women entrepreneurs. And so for you, before we get into some video tips and things like that, what would you say was really that turning point in your business? And maybe you're still kind of in that like, in that stage, but after you found your niche and got your first customer, was there something you did or a point where you felt like, okay, I can do this? I'm starting to see even more momentum.
Yeah. It's funny because when you're taught like how to, craft a webinar or something, they're like, you want to put this pivotal moment in your webinar. I'm like, well, what if I don't have a pivotal moment? Because I
Right.
feel like business, it's always moving. I have an agency now. And of course, there are times when you're like, oh no, are we going to backfill that client? Like we have our core clients that have been with us for years, and then we have people that we cycle through. And so I don't know if there's like a pivotal moment in my business where I was like, this is going to happen, but I really do think 2020 was a pivotal moment
Mm,
for
mm,
many people's businesses.
mm,
But for
mm,
me, it showed me, first of all, that YouTube is powerful
mm,
and that is where I am glad I put my time, because when we got shut down and everybody was home, I couldn't work. Like my kids are home.
mm.
At the time they were 3 and 5. And so what can I do? Like I'm not sitting here. They can't go to daycare. They can't go to my parents because nobody was going anywhere. But I had videos on
Mm,
YouTube that were driving me clients that were emailing me during the pandemic, like, how do I sign up to work with you? How do I sign up to work with you?
mm.
And then I just focus on the only thing that I did every single week is just have enough time to create a YouTube video every single week to continue to drive those leads and sales. And that was really kind of the mindset shift for me, is like, this is why people need YouTube. And this is why I'm committed to doing YouTube, because my business didn't stop. 2020 was one of our biggest years. And I was like, we're
Mm.
never going to match this again. And then we hit 2021 and we hit 2020's revenue by, I think it was August or September. And now we're in 2022 and we're going to hit 2021's revenue here in a week or two. And so
Yeah.
it, even with Facebook ads, a ridiculous mess, and nobody knows that Facebook ads are up and down, I hardly put any budget into my Facebook ads. And I continue to get the leads and drive sales to my business. And I think that pivotal moment was March 2020, when it was like, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I feel like that coupled with just like the quality content that you put out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you were an authority in that space, and then there was a need, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then who are people going to recommend? They're going to be like, Trina, you need to
Yeah.
check out Trina.
Yeah.
And then something you were saying at that time, your children were 3 and 5. And I do have a lot of moms that listen and they're like, oh my God, how do I make time? Because sometimes they have this full time job, this amazing business idea, and maybe 2 children, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. And they're like, how do I balance it all? For you, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
How do you balance it? And how did you balance it, especially when they were little?
Yeah, for me, I'm fortunate. Both my in-laws and my parents are nearby and they
Oh,
wanted
nice.
the
Yeah.
grandkids. So I was fortunate there, but I mean, when the kids were here being watched by my mom, I still felt guilty. Like, I could hear them and I'm like, "Oh, but I'm a mom. I should be taking care of my kids." And I think one mindset shift I really needed to have, and even if you're working full time, is this is a short time. Like, this
Mm,
isn't forever. So if you have to work in the evenings, I don't enjoy working in the evenings, but if we have something big coming up or we're planning something, I don't want to take the time that they are home because now they're in school. I don't want to take that time away. So if I have to work in the evenings, which I don't prefer, I tell myself this is just a short time. Like, this isn't forever.
mm.
And there are some weekends, like last weekend, I had to play catch up. And so I worked all day on Sunday and I feel guilty 100%. But I'm like, this is just 1, 2, 3 Sundays in the whole gamut
Right.
of, their childhood. And I'm like, it's just this small amount of time to get this going, because the benefits, or what I'm going to reap from these few Sundays that I'm working, are going to help for years to come.
No, I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get into video.
Yeah. Well, you need to figure out, really, like you said, how to balance it all, because video is a little bit more.
It is, because I always tell people it's funny, especially after a YouTube video, even if it's a 10-minute YouTube video, depending on the type of content you're producing that. But even for me, when I do my YouTube videos, like it takes me a few hours to edit it down to
Hmm.
the way I want it, right? So it takes time, especially if you're doing it yourself. So my first question with video is, a lot of times people are like, video seems it's a little complicated. You need all this special equipment. They're like,
Hmm.
I don't know if I could do this. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I want my face on the camera. And so, any tips for people when it comes to things like that?
Yeah. So, interesting enough, since we kind of have our YouTube process going strong and I can batch, 3 or 4 at a time, and we do have an editor now on staff, but that's taken me, I mean, I'm in year 7 of my business to get to
Yeah.
that point. But now that I have some space, I've been playing with vertical video. And so, the way you want to think about this is you have to market your business. Like, you have to get out there or you're not going to get leads, plain and simple. You're not going to make sales. And so you have to decide, how are you going to market your business? Are you going to
Mm-hmm.
dump a buttload of money on Facebook ads and give Mark Zuckerberg that money? I don't really want to take that gamble. And so that's why such a small piece of my marketing plan is Facebook ads. But you got to think, okay, what is the best content for me to create? And what I came to realize is YouTube lives so much longer. Yes, it may take you a little bit longer, but I have a video from 2019 still growing my email list to this day.
Mm-hmm.
In towards the we're in the fall. It is almost 3 years old. Whereas August, I've been playing the past 25 days, 26 days, I've been playing with Reels and TikTok. And I've been publishing 2 Reels and 2 TikToks a day for the last 26 days. I'm going to tell you, those take me more time than a YouTube video, and their life is maybe 2 days.
That's it.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
the end of 2 days, there's no more views. Like what I posted in the first week of August, now in the third week of August, nothing. Like they're not getting any more views, but a YouTube video I published back in January is still getting views to this day, still driving traffic to my website. And so when people say, it takes a lot of time or I don't want to show up on video, your business is you and you have to sell yourself. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're limited on time as it is, why not focus on the content that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck?
Yeah.
And so that's really where I would first make people think about, is really dedicating to YouTube, because sure, Instagram looks flashy and nice, but you've got to run that content hamster wheel over there to just get ahead of the game. I mean, I think I've maybe grown 200 followers in 3 weeks over there. And like, what's that doing for me? As
Mm-hmm.
far as getting started, I make it super simple. Like with
Yeah.
Reels and TikTok, it's your cell phone that you're using, and you could literally get away with your cell phone for most YouTube videos. I have some on my channel that I've done in the past couple of months. The people can't tell whether it's my cell phone or if it's my Sony ZV-1, which is the camera I use. So don't overcomplicate the process when it comes to video
Mm-hmm.
tech. I used a Canon M50, which is like with the fancy YouTuber lens and everything. I used it for like 4 videos and I was like, I can't do this. I
You're
hate making
like,
videos because of all the tech and all the
mm,
issues and the settings and getting it focused. And I just hated it. I couldn't just turn it on. Let's shoot. The kids are outside playing.
mm,
I can get a video done here. And I couldn't do that. So just my biggest advice is to keep your filming simple.
yeah. Yeah. Because really, I mean, I feel like it is about the content. If someone wants to hear what you have to say, if your video isn't super crisp, 4K, perfectly
Oh,
curated
I
in the
never even shoot in
background,
4K. So there's that. I've never even shot in 4K. So
it's like, it'll be okay, right?
yes. And I think that's another thing 2020 did, is while you do need to have some quality to your
Yeah.
video, you need to like lighting needs to be decent, and you need to be able to hear you just like on a podcast, because audio is about 50% of the viewer's experience on YouTube. It doesn't have to be a studio anymore. Like the Today Show, Good Morning America, they were literally filming from their homes during
Yeah.
2020. And so we've really been given this kind of adjustment in society and what we expect in backgrounds. And
Yeah.
so just like move your mess to the other side of the camera and just make sure whatever's in the camera looks decent.
And what, for you, what are kind of like the secret ingredients to a video? Before we started recording, I mentioned like one thing I love about your videos is you have this magical way of like at the end of the video connecting to the next video. And I remember laughing with my friend because I was like, I need to up my YouTube game. So I'm like, I study what Trina does, but I was like, how does she do that? She must like I batch record for the podcast, but I'm like, I wonder, does she just batch record the video so she knows like all the videos that she's linking, you know? And so
Mhm.
just kind of like curious, like for you, what are those like ingredients, batching or making sure you have connecting video or making sure the videos kind of hit a sweet spot on timing? Just curious from your perspective.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that we do, and it's our signature process we teach and do on our 7-figure entrepreneurs in our agency, and then with all of our clients in our programs. But the first thing that we teach is using our video game plan. And it's really planning your video before you even turn your camera on. Because you mentioned, editing takes you so long. But if you plan your video the right way up front, it's going to take you less time to film it and it's going to take you less time to edit it because you have a game plan. And that's why I
Mm,
call it a
mm,
game plan and not a script, because you have
mm,
a game
mm,
plan going into the video. And so it's going to take you a lot quicker to film and you're not going to have as much footage to then edit. I also
mm.
don't call it a script because the only thing that I script word for word in my videos is my hook, so that first 10 seconds, and the call to
Oh,
action that
yeah.
you so much call out, because on YouTube it is so important to grab people's attention immediately in that hook and to get them to binge watch another video. And so those are the two pieces that I really focus on scripting. And then the middle part is just bullet points. So I stay on task, so I
Mm,
know
mm,
what I want to deliver. But I also want to know, before I even do any of that, I determine what the title of my video is going to be and what my thumbnail is going to look like, because
mm.
it doesn't matter how great your video game plan is. If you can't get people to click on your video because of your title and your thumbnail, it's going
Yeah.
nowhere in YouTube. So I really craft all that content that I talked about in my video game plan around the title that I determine before I even write my video game plan.
No, that makes sense. Planning ahead of time. Yes, yes. And it's so funny. I'm like a big time planner, but I feel like for the videos, I'm not as much of a planner. It's more winging it a little bit. So definitely I could understand. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I'll take a little bit from here. I'll take a little bit from there. But what you're saying totally makes sense in order to make sure like it's relevant, you're hitting all your key points, and that you're not wasting your time, right?
Yeah, and I will say the one other thing that we teach as well is called our fireworks strategy. So again, we work with predominantly business owners, and so they're not out to become YouTubers.
Mm,
So they really need to balance, how do I make the algorithm over on YouTube happy, but how do I get those viewers over to my business? And
mm,
generally what most people are teaching on YouTube about YouTube is how to become a YouTuber, how to get more views, how to get more subscribers, but that doesn't put money in the business owner's pocket. So the other people that teach YouTube for business owners are like, send them off YouTube, like send them to your email list, send them here. But then that makes YouTube's algorithm unhappy, because if people are
mm,
leaving the platform, again, YouTube's not going to push your content to more people. So what our fireworks strategy teaches is we create a core video, and that video's main purpose is to send people to that opt-in,
mm,
webinar, email list, wherever you want to send them off of YouTube. And then we usually follow up with 4 to 5 videos after that, which we call our Spark videos. And the call to action to those
mm.
Spark videos are then to the core video. Because again, you're getting people to binge more than one
Yeah.
video. When they watch more than one video, they're going to be more likely to watch more. They're going to be
Mm,
more likely to subscribe, and they're going to be more likely to convert after seeing more than one video from you.
I love it. And what are your thoughts on the blogger style videos? Because, we're all nosy. It's like, ooh, let me see your living room.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
I feel like those videos, because you have like talking head videos, that are more educational, then maybe kind of lifestyle videos that have like several different clips and so forth. And I'm sure there's like other categories too. As far as like in your academy, are you kind of also like talking people through how to choose which type of, I guess, like format or style of video to use based on what their niche is?
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time in Video Strategy Academy talking about research, market research, because
Mm-hmm.
you really need to figure out how your audience is viewing content on YouTube. What style do they like? Who are they watching? How are they creating content? Because what you need to do on YouTube is get in front of those people, right? Those people are already watching somebody on YouTube. So how do you get in front of those? And so we have this entire market research process that we teach in how you can figure out the right kind of content you can create for YouTube to realize, oh, this video is similar to these content creators. So let's try to recommend this video to their viewers and see how it performs, because you really need YouTube to start clustering you
Mm.
with what we call niche neighbors. We don't like to call them competitors because there's room for everybody, but we want to get you clustered with niche neighbors because if you know your audience is watching these niche neighbors channels and you can get YouTube to realize, oh, you're part of that cluster too, then YouTube knows who to put you in front of. And so we don't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
say your niche, this type of video. We challenge you to really think about who is your target audience, who are you speaking to, and who are they currently watching on YouTube, and go from
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, and another question I've heard people ask too is about monetization because people are like, okay, if I kind of spend my time crafting these videos, figuring out my content, figuring out my niche, is there really any money in YouTube? Because sometimes people are like, oh, isn't YouTube dead? And which is why people are like bouncing and all over
Mm-hmm.
to the different platforms. But any advice on or just examples of like how people can monetize like whatever they do on YouTube?
Yeah, so I don't have a strategy that I map out for actually monetizing on YouTube, like getting AdSense dollars.
Mm,
When
mm,
I work with my clients, we look at that as kind of bonus money, because you're
mm,
already creating content. Why not get paid for creating content? But how
mm-hmm.
I really challenge people to start monetizing is a business model off of YouTube because that you can control. You can't
Mm, mm,
control what you're making from YouTube AdSense. One month you could make a lot of money, and then the next month you may not. The next month you maybe have a viral video, and the next month you may not. And so you can't really control that. What you can control is your business. And so I have students and clients that sell signature courses from YouTube, that sell membership sites from YouTube. I have a client who has a digital shop that she
mm,
sells from YouTube, services one on one. My agency, anytime I mention my YouTube production agency on my YouTube video, I instantly get applications.
mm.
And because I don't do it a lot because we get applications when we mention it. But that's really how we are using YouTube to generate money in businesses is using, first of all, that firework approach I talked about, because that
Mhm.
core video would tell people where you want them to go, a webinar or your shop or wherever. And then you're constantly getting YouTube to push your content out with that Spark video. And then the added benefit is once you
Mm.
do hit that monetization threshold on YouTube, that's just kind of extra passive income for you. And we
Right.
have clients that make $500 a month from YouTube. Some make $1,000 a month from YouTube. I have a client inside of Video Strategy Academy a couple months because November and December are really high months because brands are spending a lot of money for ads around the holiday. Need $10,000 in
Mm.
November and December just from their YouTube videos, like AdSense
Mm.
from their YouTube videos without even selling anything from their business. So like YouTube really has a potential to just basically increase your revenue across the board.
Yeah. And then do you use Pinterest at all to, because I feel like Pinterest and YouTube are like, I don't know, kind
Yeah.
of cousins or something. Because just like how you said, you can have a video from 2, 3 years ago, still pop and still engage with
Hmm.
that. I find that with Pinterest too, like
Yeah,
even for my podcast and things like that, it
absolutely.
could be from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, so Pinterest was probably, I don't know, it was a 1-2 punch with YouTube and Pinterest. And I realized, I needed to promote YouTube over to Pinterest because I knew when I started YouTube, I may not get instantly recommended because it was a new channel. And so I
Mm,
really
mm.
used Pinterest. And Pinterest still, I don't know if it's my number one traffic source anymore, but for a while it was one of my number one external traffic sources
Mm.
to my YouTube channel. And the way I did that was just created pins.
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest has changed a lot since 2016, and we now create video pins and we create pin stories or whatever they are. We
Yeah.
repurpose a lot of the things that we do with our YouTube videos because we really focus on our primary content there. But yeah, we use Pinterest a lot. We now blog our videos as well so that we have
Mm.
the Google search over there and then we put our pins on the blog post. But yeah, Pinterest is definitely a long-term game as well.
Yeah, because I just feel like I don't know, like Instagram and Twitter and so forth, and maybe TikTok, people are able to like get a little bit of traction, but it seems like it's one of the better games in town to get people to go over to your YouTube account.
Yeah.
And just one more question before I get to the wrap up questions. For you personally, as far as like diversifying your income, and we talk about that a lot on the podcast, is it really like the academy and then consulting maybe, and then like kind of the AdSense stuff? Like for you, what is that kind of diversity when it comes to like the income that you're bringing in?
hmm I was pretty heavily, it was my passive income, which was my course until 2020. And then the agency really took off and we kind of neglected promoting and scaling our courses because the agency did so well. We went from 3 clients to 10 clients overnight. And so we, for the past year, have really been focusing on building this agency. And now it's to a point where I don't even touch the agency clients anymore. I've built a team and an account managers around that. So that's really my big revenue generator. And I think that's
Mm.
so important for people to hear because sometimes service providers get such a bad rap,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a great way to earn a living because you get this consistent stream of income if you're booking retainer clients. And then you can get to the point where you master your process, you master what you do, and you can bring somebody in to help you out. And so you're not always working so hard. You can get a
Right.
team behind you to do a lot of that. And so the agency has been number one. We do affiliate things through Amazon. We also, like I said, my course, and I do
Okay.
have different levels. I have my signature course, Video Strategy Academy. I have a lower tier product, my prep system. And then just this year, we also released a coaching program as well.
Ooh,
So we have
nice.
kind of all these different tiers to try things out. We also have G calls, but because my calendar has been so booked, we haven't released them in the past 6 months. But we do strategy sessions as well or VIP days. So we have the gamut. But
Yeah.
just depending on my availability too, is how people can schedule these out. But we have the processes and the forms and everything to pull a lever on any of these whenever we need to.
No, love it. Okay, kind of my kind of rapid fire questions, I guess, is how do you stay organized? Do you have any tools, software, techniques, or anything you would want to share with the listeners?
Yeah, so I'd say my three big ones are Asana. Pretty
Mm,
much all of my tasks are in Asana. I also use my full focus planner. Every
mm.
Sunday, I plan out my weekend there. And then Google Calendar, I live and die by because that also ties in any kid appointments or any practices or anything like that so that I'm not double booking myself because I've absolutely did that before I got my stuff together. So I'd say those are the three things that pretty much run my life.
No, love it. And do you have a hobby?
Huh. Working on it. It's something I've been trying to work on for like the past 2 years. I'm like, I need a hobby. I do love my job. And one of the things that I wanted to do, which it's not a hobby, it's just like increasing my skills with video. I wanted to get more creative with video and storytelling, but that's
Mm.
not really a hobby. That's still part of my job. But I guess the only other hobby would be watching trashy TV, like reality
Right.
TV. That's kind of my mental decompress time.
Right. And then last but not least, please tell everyone where they can find you. They're like all jazzed about video now. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready. So
Yeah,
how do they find
obviously,
you?
the YouTube channel has lots of information, and you can just go to trinalittle.com/YouTube. I am on Instagram because I do like stories and
Mm.
sharing like more behind the scenes on there. Again, trinalittle.com/Instagram. And then if you are interested in like getting my process and kind of seeing my workflow, I do have that available at trinalittle.com/prep, PREP. And that is all about my prep system for video success.
Perfect. Well, Trina, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for sharing all the things.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so amazing tips, right? Are you guys ready to do video? Are you pumped? I know I'm pumped. I've, as I re-listened to this episode, I wrote down some notes because you guys know I am trying to up my YouTube game. And if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube already, you can go to youtube.com/Nache Snow and hit that subscribe button, my friends, because I am going to continue to try to put out more video content using using YouTube. I do agree with her. I do think YouTube is a great platform in order to get people to your website. And I know I love YouTube. It's like where I go to learn new things. And so I'm going to look to share more of my content on YouTube too. So hopefully I'll see you guys over there. And if not YouTube, I just would love to see you guys creating more video content for whatever social media platform is your jam: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, what have you. All right. Okay, so that's it, my friends. Remember to head on over to nachesnow.com/156 in order to get any of the links that Trina or I mentioned in this episode. Also, the speak pipe will be over there. So if you click that button, you can leave me a little bit of a message and it could potentially be played on the podcast. So looking forward to you playing a message in the future on a future episode. And of course, if you love this episode, please rate me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. If you're looking at this on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. And wherever you're listening, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And remember, sharing is caring, my friends. So if you think this would be helpful for someone, please share the link. Okay, that's it, folks. I will talk to you guys next week, and I look forward to hearing from you on the gram or my email or in comments or wherever you would like to say a little hello. All right, take care. Bye.